something.
I love the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up! It's time to look at the enemy. Look in the mirror if he is no friend to me. It's not working out, maybe it's the chemistry. It's time to break up so I can make a better me. Better believe in your mind, cause it's everything. You can mold, shape, find almost anything. All it takes is some time and some clarity to find your identity. It's mind over everything. And when I feel like this, I'm immortal. When I feel like this, I'm immortal. When I feel like this, I'm immortal. When I feel like this, I'm
You have to ask yourself one question. Do I feel lucky?
Oh, how are you all doing tonight? 30 strong in the chat right away. It's clear that you guys were absolutely primed and ready for this flick. Welcome to the 150th episode of Toxic Tuesday with a man whose skin is quite literally toxic in the name of Fred Krueger. So, a Nightmare on Elm Street tonight. It's going to be nice. It's going to be huge. Let's acknowledge some faces in our chat. Oh, yeah. The Cosmic Beta here. Daisy, Putin's cat. Vince, Womack. How's it going? Agent Decimal, welcome back. Benoit, Juggalo, Deathcock, Doc, Fortune. How's it going, sir? Emily Krueger. We got a Krueger in the house. Look at that. Paul Listro, good day and hail all. Hail, Paul. How you doing, sir? Sander Hamerslack, how you doing? RJ Godzilla 81, Yaknamano Anonymous Gamer, what's going on? Hello. Read by Nature. Anthem 21X. Happy 4th of July, Nick. Man, I wish. Oh, yeah, because of my shirt. you had me for a second there. Now, let's acknowledge who's on Rumble, because, yes, we are on Rumble as well. So, in case you want to be one of those people who will dual stream it, I will post the link in our chat starting now, because, as per usual, second hour, we're going to play long clips galore. Mark will have his Mad Mardigan size clips there. It's going to be great. And the third act of the slideshow will head on in there. It's going to be great, guys. It's going to be awesome. And we could get a lot more ridiculous and vulgar there. I love it. We've done 2 shows, and it's a great format. So right there in the chat is the green button link. And on that side is Vince as well over there. And Davina Duckworth is there too. Yeah, Davina Duckworth, how's it going? Looks like the chat is lighting up there too. I love to see it. So, hey, Steve Mitchell. How's it going, Steve? Nice to see you, Steve. Oh, yeah. All right. Let's bring in those bodies. Bring them on all up in here. You know what? And as that's going on, we'll bring in bodies too. We'll start off with Marty with a C. How you doing, sir?
Doing awesome, but I don't know how I'm going to sleep tonight after watching this movie. But yeah. I mean, this is one of the primal fears, of people having nightmares when you sleep. Like, the typical one I have is, monsters chasing you, and you can't get away, right? You're running slow. So this is one of the. I think it's just one of those primal fears that's why this movie hit so hard. And I guess I think this is Tom's first time watching the movie, so maybe he's going to be kind of quiet tonight. Tom's in the chat. He's interviewed all the cast. It's like, maybe we should just let Tom do the show tonight. Like, can't wait to hear what he says about this movie, because he's got a degree in Freddy Kruegerology, but
I'm excited to hear Tom talk about it. Like this. That's how I'm excited about it. This is because like I feel like I'm gonna get educated by Tom, which is great. So I'm gonna have fun commenting, but I'm gonna have even more fun listening because I know when Tom has something that's like a specialty, he really he leans in on it. So it's
Yeah,
like
he's
we
got the
basically
claws,
we get Tom on
guys.
roids.
Yeah,
Tom
but like,
on roids is best Tom.
But just to give an example, like how scary this movie is, I was watching it with another couple, and you were just flipping back in the day when you like actually change the channels, and Nightmare on Elm Street came on just for hanging out on like a Saturday night, and my buddy's wife or girlfriend at the time's like screaming like, turn it off. I'm like, and I started to laugh. You knew what pretty much a nice guy I am, and I started to laugh, and she's like, no, please turn it off. I'm like, what? I'm like, are you joking? She's like, no, turn it on. And then my buddy was like, yeah, that's like the movie just scares the shit out of her. So just like flip, and it was such a scream that came out of her. But I thought she was just playing a joke or something. And she was just shaking up. She can't. I'm like, I'm sorry. Like I did, and I left it on, not as being an SOB, but I thought she was just joking. But that's how, because then you can't go to sleep, right? That's when that's what scares you, right? You don't want to go to bed. So yeah, it's just that's why this movie works. It works so well for me and so many people. But yeah, hopefully I don't have any bad dreams tonight. Oh, and it is my 30th anniversary tonight too, so I get extra points for being here.
Happy anniversary for having your time with dudes.
We did go out to dinner, but and I had a few drinks. But yeah, it's a school night, so I get to stream with you guys tonight. So
I love this. Love this. Let's have some fun tonight, Mark. Well, thank you for your time being here. I can't wait to see what clips you got in store. And let's bring in, welcoming back to Toxic Tuesday, just another red shirt, sir. It is a divine pleasure that you're here.
I'm back.
I love it. I love it. The world feels like there's balance. It feels like there's balance. I'm liking it. I'm liking it.
The planets are back in their orbits.
It feels right. It feels right. Right? It feels right.
Hey, I survived a hurricane to come back here.
Dude, that's so crazy. Like, you had quite an episode, man. A world's away, and you had an episode.
That is my usual vacation. I was like, we go on vacation. We're going to be in Florida. It's going to be great. There's a hurricane coming. Oh, shit.
Right?
Oh, yeah, it was interesting. Wasn't bad where we were, but yeah, people on the coast got hammered.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure. I don't doubt it for a second.
Oh, yeah.
Should a red shirt be watches just Agent Decibel. That was good. That was really good. All right. I like it.
People Agent Decibel, I survived an away mission right in the path of a hurricane. Come on, man. You're looking at the oldest living red shirt there is.
Ooh. Thank you guys. I see bodies are piling in on Rumble. Thank you. There's already 14 in there. I love to see it. And red shirt, great to have you back, sir. Let's have a magical night tonight. Let's keep it fun. Let's get gay with Toxic Tuesday. Is that right?
Yes.
That 70s rock fan.
Always. You can never turn the gay up enough, Nick.
Up. This
We're gonna
is the show
be
that
gay
really requires us to get it up the most.
We're gonna
right?
be gay from the bottom up. So, good evening to you. Now, we are doing the 2010 movie tonight, aren't we?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Good. Good. I should think so.
That's the one I clipped. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the one somebody's told me to do. Yeah.
God knows we don't want to be watching 40-year-old movies, do we?
Mark, if you have an overlay, you can send me an overlay too.
Oh, yeah. I didn't do it yet, but I will.
Okay.
I will do it.
All right. Just letting you know.
I was running late tonight with the anniversary dinner.
Oh, I know. That's all good. I know you had
I'm just using the excuses when I'm just using the excuse. Whenever you got a good excuse, always use it.
Oh, of course. That's why I'm proud that you did. It's okay. You're good, man. You're good. All the way up. Nothing can stop them. They're all the way up. Yes. All right. Well, guys, we got another gentleman here. I didn't catch if Dustin will be around tonight. So, Dustin, if you're out there, we miss you already. Full on, straight up, flaming homo. All right. Let's bring in the man who knows the Krueger, who comes with the music, and
Uh-oh, I'm getting scared already.
Mickey, I'm your co-host now, buddy.
dude, that shirt. Wow. Oh my God. This
Fall
is
asleep
great.
in this stream. Jesus.
Even the
I actually
face,
have. Well, let me fix this.
even the
I
face
actually-
looks like Freddy.
I know, right? I actually have a pair of plastic ones I couldn't find, but this is my part 1 replicas, right? Yeah, part 1 replica here.
Those are awesome. And you can
Double
use them
part 3.
as steak knives.
He can double it up as Edward Scissorhands when he wants to.
And this is just a costume version, so it's
Nice.
but it is metal. As you can hear. Let's kill the
metal.
atmospherics here.
I like the atmosphere. It's nice.
Dude, that was wild.
Cool.
We had the seriously, that was freaking awesome, man. All right, well, it's gonna be a damn show tonight. I love it. Hot dog. Oh, so Mark, how many more minutes do you need before you?
Oh, you just
put
give
it
me
up?
like two. Well, I can do the slideshow now, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
then,
yeah. I can
get
start
it
the
up.
slideshow. Yeah, yeah. Let me get it up.
Oh.
Hold on, I need about a half hour, but no, just kidding.
At the costume will not be sleeping tonight for reasons. Now, oh God, for me, when I first heard about the character, I think I was maybe, I think 10 or 9, but until I actually saw the original, the first movie, I think I saw I was 11, and I was like, oh, this guy's wild. I don't know if I was scared of him, but I thought he was wild. I thought he was wild. I'm like, oh, okay, this dude's kind of crazy. And then all of a sudden, I can't remember which order of the movies I saw first, but it was what I remember thinking, oh, this guy's got a little bit of a funny bone to him. I know it was one of the later movies, but eventually when I came across this first movie, people were like, oh, Johnny Depp's in it. I was just like, Johnny Depp was in it. They was like, oh, it's the debut movie. I'm like, what? Johnny Depp in his first movie? Bro!
I remember watching it at the time in the cinema, and I didn't even know who Johnny Depp was. It meant nothing.
No,
Like,
it
was just
God, he
another
looks
guy.
young.
No,
Yeah.
which was more horrific for him? The shit on the bed or this movie? I'm still contemplating which is more traumatizing.
How did
Poor
Tom get?
Depp.
How did Tom get in that bathtub?
You're in the right place. That's all I know.
I'm gonna put me here. Yeah, you get. I'm
Don't mind me. I have to shave while I'm down here.
This poor ladies did shave down there, though, I have to say. But yeah.
At least those razors are free.
Well, I hope the razors have been well cleaned and are not rusty, because that could cause infections if
Well,
they're rusty.
small price to pay. At least you got a nice clean shave. Well, no, it's not clean shave because it's definitely not anything but. But we'll just say it's a nice shave. We'll say it's a nice shave, even though it's anything but clean.
Just
Yeah.
don't pick your nose while you're wearing them.
Okay, we're not being
Ugh.
gay enough here.
All right. Well, where do
We
you
need to
want
get
put
more
it?
gay with Toxic Tuesday.
Well, look at
here.
that pipe. What do you want to do with that pipe?
Oh, let's lay some pipe.
Well,
No, this is actually shot really
like
late.
They had
in
an
the
opening for
process,
you there.
yeah.
It
Yeah,
looked
Tom,
like
can
they
you
had
tell
an
us
opening
about
there.
the claw? Didn't this prop disappear, or can you tell us about?
Yeah, that's a fun story, I guess. The shortest version of it was the movie. It actually disappeared during the second film, And my theory is that Rob Tappert ended up with it because they had this back and forth thing with Wes Craven and Sam Raimi where they would try to one-up each other in each one of their movies. And you had like the ripped poster of A Hills Have Eyes in the first Evil Dead, and then you have Nancy watching Evil Dead in this one. And then in Evil Dead 2, you have Freddy's claw hanging from the door in the tool shed. Well, the popular rumor is that that's the claw. And the claw went missing during the making of part 2 because, for those who don't know, there is only one hero claw at that time. There was some couple stunt claws, but otherwise there was only the one main hero claw. And as you can see here, this is before the knife even got broke. But yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Are they filming? Or I was just asking, are they filming like actually making that, or is that's the actual?
No,
claw?
a lot of that was just until the end. There, it was just them. That was actually, as I was saying, it was actually shot way late in the process. That was just an added-on thing.
Just okay, yep. So that's not the claw. Yeah.
No, but you can actually get the original plans for the claw out there, and there's a whole community of people who do like custom claws, and and you can find some really fancy dancy ones out there and whatnot. But yeah, at that time though, the guy who made it, they just went up and missing, and they freaked the fuck out. But they had to make a new one, and then from there on out, they have a new one for each and every film. But
they don't reuse the same set for really?
Nope.
What?
Only in the first 2, and then that's where his claw disappears about so far into the movie, and they have a different kind of. It actually has the knives come out of his fingers, and they created a new claw. And I think you can notice because the color changes, I believe. If I'm not mistaken. But then in part 3, we actually have the one that I have here.
Here, I'm zooming in on you. So,
and this one is a bit smaller than the other one, and I mean you can barely tell the differences. As far as they did pretty close on this one. Now the funny thing is, I just noticed this is the first claw. They actually have the fixed claw here, but in that shot we just seen, it was before they actually broke that. They actually had to fix that in real life.
They look pretty big next to each other.
Yeah, but this one I can't even get on my hands because this one was actually molded for Robert Englund, and he's a little dude. And it's tiny. Like I can't even get this thing on my hands.
That's what they say, Tom.
I'm glad. That's a great segue into something I was want to talk about Robert Englund being tiny, because originally Wes Craven wanted like a big.
Nick knows the personal experience.
But the end of that
wanted a guy like a big man, like a Kane Hodder type to originally.
Well, he was going to go with a stunt guy,
yeah. He wanted a big boy to play Freddy, but then obviously he ended up settling with Robert Englund. And once Robert Englund got all suited up, he's like, "Oh, hold up, this guy's actually kind of perfect for this." It's hard to like imagine now. Imagine like Freddy being like a big, bulky, like almost like a Jason Voorhees. I'm trying to imagine. I can't, because Robert Englund's so like synonymous with the part.
Yeah, and I mean, just to finish off the claw story, it did turn up years later in a collection. A guy from Wisconsin who has like the biggest Nightmare on Elm Street collection has a bunch of the claws, and I can't remember what he bought it under. I think it was one of the other sequels it was listed under, or a replica or a prop, like a different kind of prop to what it was supposed to be. But he had this gut feeling that he had the original claw.
How did they prove it?
The guy who made the original claw came and looked at it, and this is actually you can actually see the video out there where he comes and he verifies, like, yeah, this is the one. This is because there were certain things that he knew about the claw that nobody else would. And he even points out, like, yeah,
or like, you screw something up, or it has something. Oh yeah, I couldn't follow the plan exactly, so it's like this.
So it's some way, somehow, it wound up in this guy's collection at some point. So yeah.
Wow.
All these years later.
The more you know. Our buddy Price of Reason's in the chat. What's up, Price? How you doing, sir? Hit the gloves, doesn't fit. You must have quit from Davina.
There's 4 letters in my name, Rod. How's there room on your joint for my name?
This is toxic. This is such
up yours with a twirling lawnmower.
Yeah.
Sorry, I know this fucker by heart. So
I can tell. No, hey, go for it, man. I love hearing you go for it.
No. So I don't want to overtalk too much because, like, yeah. So, But like this movie was one of those things that it gestated for years. Wes Craven had a hard ass time to get it made. That's the short version of it. But the only person who really believed in it was Bob Shea, who I've interviewed over on Main Channel. And if you haven't had a chance to check out that interview yet, it's definitely worth it. And this is the movie that really helped build New Line Cinema from just a distribution company to an actual production company. They had done a few pictures to this point, but Nightmare on Elm Street was just on a whole nother level. And it was made for like $1.50.
This was their Mickey Mouse, basically.
Kind of, yeah, in a way. I mean, they had done like Alone in the Dark and a few other movies before this that were original productions, but they had really made their mint on like releasing like Evil Dead and Texas Chainsaw Massacre and stuff like that. They didn't own them, but they were the
Wholesome
distributors
family
on them.
movies. You mean?
Wholesome family entertainment,
Well, I'm
exactly.
glad you mentioned wholesome family movies, 70s. I think that's, once again, another unintentional segue, and I'm sure Tom has all the answers on this. What is the story on apparently Disney having the idea of actually releasing this movie? Was it going to be under Miramax or some other company? Because apparently Disney was going to release this.
I don't know too much about
Or
that.
they're going to
other
try like
than-
get them to do like a G-rated version of this.
No,
movie.
I think maybe it might have just been at that time period where they were. If I don't know this story, this is the first I'm kind of hearing about it. But if I had to guess, it was because that's right around the same time period they launched Touchstone Pictures and stuff. So maybe they were considering it for that.
Okay.
Which would have been the similar kind of thing with like, yeah, it had been under a completely different umbrella. But yeah, no, I have never heard that story before. In fact, the only person I know that turned it down that came close to buying it was Paramount. And Bob Shea has the actual letter where Frank Mancuso turned him down, framed to this day, because he reminds him every time he sees him of how much money he saved him by turning down the movie and forcing him to distribute it on himself on his own. Because yeah, nobody had any faith in this movie. You got to remember at this time when this came out, slashers were big, but movies about dreams had not done well.
Well, there's the apparently someone wasn't one of the studios scared that this was too much like what was that movie called Dreamscape?
Yeah,
that was one of the concerns was Dreamscape.
And even Wes Craven even freaked out when he either saw the trailer or saw the movie, and they have the scene where the villain comes out with knives strapped to his fingers. He's like,
because Dreamscape's the same year, isn't it?
Yeah, it came out the same year, but he had written Nightmare on Elm Street back in like 81, 82. So like, yeah, or 80, somewhere in there.
It's funny about movies about dreams not selling well, because dreams are a perfect setting for horror. You can do anything in a dream.
You would think, but even Sean Cunningham, his partner, he worked with on Friday the 13th and Last House on the Left and shit like that with, and he was second unit director on this. He told Wes flat out, he goes, I don't think people think it's scary because it all happens in a dream.
I feel like that's why people would find it horrific, because it's literally like, what if you can't wake up? You're stuck in your dream. And people, when they have bad dreams, we've all seen people, if not some of us have seen it their own selves with their own personal bad dreams. Bad dreams freak people out.
Yeah, nightmares.
No matter the age. It don't matter where
Kamala Harris was
from.
president the other night. It was scary.
Right? No shit. Well, here's the part where I kind of freak everybody out a little bit who didn't know this already. This is actually based upon actual happenings. And what I mean is Wes Craven, when he in the 1970s,
Randy
noticed,
Oh,
noticed,
sorry, I got it. No trouble.
Randy.
Randy's
here.
Went into the subtitles and I changed it.
Just as I'm getting serious here, but no, in the 1970s, Wes Craven came across a few articles that I think he said it was in the New York Times. It didn't matter, but either way, the publication just for some reason had not correlated, but he did, and all of the stories had to do with these kids who had died in their sleep, and the connection that was weird about it is they were all perfectly healthy, but they seemingly died of cardiac arrest in their sleep, and the thing that connected all of them was that they were in these internment camps in Cambodia. And that's where they had come over to the US and came from there. And then the one that really, really got to him was the last story he had found. And I think even one of them was also one of the ones where they got the idea about the kid who cuts his eyelids off. I think that was one of them too.
Mhm.
Hmong, how do you say the ethnicity? They're
They're Hmong or
Vietnam,
whatever. Yeah.
Hmong. I would say
Yeah.
the nationality wrong, but yeah.
Yeah, so these kids were kids that would have been, during the Vietnam War would have been brought up in the camps. But anyway, so like the one that really bothered him was between that, like the one that cut his eyelids off, and then the other one was the parents. The dad was actually a doctor, and they couldn't figure it out, and he would just be deathly afraid to go to sleep, and they kept trying to get him to go to sleep. They kept trying to get him to take sleeping pills, and he would take them. They found later on that he had been hiding them under his bed and shit. But one night he finally fell asleep on the couch, and they carried him into the bedroom, and they no more than like left the room and got back down to the living room, I guess. And they heard this horrific scream and a thud from upstairs, and they come up to find him dead. And after they had, taken him out and everything, they started cleaning out his room. They found coffee pots and shit underneath his bed and hidden in the closet and all this other stuff. And that's how they found he hadn't been taking the meds and all this stuff. And that's the stuff that really stuck with Wes. He's like, what if, this is real, and there was something that, you knew was trying to get you in your dreams, and nobody would believe you.
Yeah.
And how horrific that would be. And then the rest just kind of spawned from there. And of course, Freddy's a whole nother thing we'll get to as we get through the proceedings here. But yeah, but that's kind of the kernel of where this came from, was these true stories, or these real actual accounts of these seemingly perfectly healthy young men dying in their sleep from cardiac arrest, basically, outside of the one who went massively insane. But yeah.
Nowadays, perfectly healthy young men die suddenly, but at the time they die in their dreams. So we've come a long way from dreams to suddenly.
But the one kid was kept telling his parents he was convinced that if he went to sleep, he was going to die.
That's wild. I know I know that obviously there's that. There's some of the inspiration of Freddy Krueger. Some of it was even based off of, like, the old guy was apparently like a creepy old guy that Wes Craven once saw, like, when he was looking at through a window. And I know that he actually had a bully in school named Fred Krueger.
Yeah, that's where the name came from. Yeah.
Yeah, that's where the name came from.
I don't know if he was named Krueger, but he said Krug. Krueger was actually an extension of the name Krug, which was the bad guy from Last House on the Left.
Yeah,
and it sounded German.
Yeah.
So he liked that aspect of it too. So yeah.
So yeah, it's clear a lot of real life inspiration was real.
And there was also a guy who scared the hell out of him as a kid too, that where the look kind of came for Freddy.
Yeah,
where he was
an old guy and he really freaked him out. Yeah, man.
This is
because originally wasn't going to be a child bleeper, and then he changed him to a child murderer.
He technically still is. And if you could pause this is one of the greatest,
cheapest
special effects in history.
It's fantastic, yeah.
Because it's not an optical like you would think it is. Do you guys know how they achieve that?
How did
I
they?
do know.
I like that.
Okay,
One of my
so
favorite
Mark
shots in the
knows.
entire movie.
So
Yeah, I do know. Yeah, it was,
go ahead, Mark, if you want to.
Spandex. It was spandex, is what I was.
Yep, they removed the wall and they made a frame and put spandex on it. Yeah,
that is awesome.
Didn't cost them jack shit.
See, once again, it seems like horror movie types with budgets, they really know how to actually use their money when it comes to these movies.
Now compare that to the CGI version in the fucking remake.
Why they did this scene in the remake? Because I always thought, oh no. I don't see.
It looks bad because it's all CGI. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, low budgets can be a good thing because it drives creativity. Then they've got to really be creative. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, and spandex was fairly
lighting
good
at
this time. Yeah. What was that?
Look how good the lighting is. I mean, it's perfectly lit.
Yeah.
I mean, it just sells the whole scene. And
wait a minute. I don't get it though. I mean, who would have a spandex wall in their bedroom? I mean, why did she have a spandex wall? What were parents thinking when they built that?
Why would you put spandex on your wall when you could put a mirror?
Yeah. On the ceiling, that would be the ceiling.
No,
well, both angles.
No,
so I blame the parents for building their house of spandex.
And they even have her knock on the wall afterwards to sell the whole thing too.
That was perfect because even though now that I know that, I still can look at this image and still think that it looks awesome.
And that's not even Robert Englund. That's what's even funnier.
Robert Englund.
It's not even. It's one of the stagehand guys.
He doesn't need to be there for that. No.
Stagehandy.
It's stage handy Randy.
Because you can see the handies on right.
That's why one of his hands is slightly smaller than the other.
Oh, oh, that was perfect.
And of course, you've got all the religious symbolism in
Because
this movie with the
once upon a
cross.
time,
and
that
all
was more dominant in these kind of movies. You know,
Yeah.
imagine that. Now,
Well,
it's
and that
like,
was a big thing for Wes too, is he wanted this to be in middle America, in suburbia, in the most wholesome Leave It to Beaver kind of place. You know, even though it was filmed in California, he tried to avoid as much as he could, you know, to make it look like California. There's only a few shots he said that they couldn't manage to get out the palm trees, but yeah.
I'll tell
But you
you
can always
what,
tell
Paul,
by the sidewalks too. The sidewalks with the numbers on them, the concrete. Then you know it's California.
But what's
'cause they were
funny
filming-
is,
well, I was just gonna say they were filming a TV series set in my hometown where I went to high school, and it was, and you know, it was filmed in California. We're like, this is not my home. And the one giveaway too, you know, the streets with the concrete and all the numbers on them. It's like, nope, that's not in New England, you know.
and I can't remember the exact name of the street this is on, but it's right off of Sunset Boulevard, believe it or not, which is funny. But it's this
So-
one street they've actually shot a lot of movies and TV shows on because it looks like such a Midwestern street. But now the house is worth like $3 million, $4 million or something like that is what it sold for last. Yeah.
I
and
guess
Mr.
Wes
Fantastic.
Craven- I was gonna say, I
too.
think Wes is secretly a Reed Richards fan because I didn't
Yeah,
know
he
that
is.
he had the Fantastic Four. For
Oh, well, it's funny you mention that because Plastic Man actually was a lot of the inspiration.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
In a sense that he wanted him to be a shapeshifter, so that was where he got the stripes from. He wanted something to where when you knew he was shifting into other things, the audience would instantly be able to recognize, oh, that's Freddy, because we'd see the red and green stripes.
Okay. Wow.
Which actually I think was something that he brought to Beetlejuice as well, because if you notice, that was where the black and white stripes were kind of his motif. I could be wrong on that, but that's what that was one thing we speculated in our retrospective. But yeah, and it's funny because this is the only movie he doesn't have the stripes on the arms, and most people don't know this is because initially they weren't going to have arms on the sleeve because they wanted to do his whole arms up in the, like his hand there is with all the makeup.
Ugh, he cuts his fingers off. Oh.
But at the last minute, they didn't quite like the
Squirter.
look.
He's a squirter.
Yeah,
Did
not
he
only
his
did they
fingers
not like the
squirt?
look, but the makeup guy was like, that's going to add like an extra 3 or 4 hours to every day of makeup where he was already sitting in the chair for 3 or 4 hours. So you're looking at an 8-hour day of just doing makeup before you even get to shoot.
On his arm? What are you talking about?
Because they wanted to have the arms bare, yeah. And that's why, so that the last minute they sewed on, they couldn't find a green and red sweater.
Oh,
They found
that's
a red one. So they tore the arms off it and sewed it on. Yeah.
Oh, I get it. Oh, yeah.
Okay, so if it takes, because I've heard that it takes around 3 to 4
And everybody
hours.
only had like one version of their costume in this movie, believe it or not, too. That's the other thing, because they all went and got their clothes from like the Salvation Army and shit.
Smart.
Not really. It wasn't very smart. That's the point.
Well, once again, you're spending for a movie for a budget.
But yeah, no, they didn't have any
money.
extras for
think it's
anything. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's how you do that. So, in my opinion, that's
Well,
smart.
fuck
Now,
something up though.
that's true. That's a good point. And that's why you gotta make sure you get shit right. Once again, meritocracy. But anyway, so I've heard this whole thing about it usually took Robert Englund around 3 to 4 hours on set every day to get all the stuff here. Now, do we know how much long it takes for everything to come undone? Can it be like when he has to take it all off, or does that take like a quick 1 minute, or does it actually take a few minutes to undo the work because there might be layers upon layers of stuff to get him in his Freddy guys? Do you know how that works, Tom?
Yeah, actually, it's first they do like a casting of Robert Englund, like they actually have him sit in this thing where they put he has to basically just sit in a mold for like whatever long it is, like I think it's like a half hour.
Okay,
where it's covered in just like this muck, and then that makes an actual mold where they make a positive out of that negative, and then from there they build up the different pieces of the Freddy mask, and it starts with a bald cap,
okay,
and they build over the top. And then from there, you got like the eyebrows, which leads down to the nose, which is part of the mouth. Then they have the cheeks, and it's all like different sections. And then it's all glued on in different sections. And then at the end of the night, they also have to take it off the same kind of way. But Robert would get so fucking just whatever by the end of the night, he'd start ripping the shit off and half-ass rip his skin off most of the time. But yeah,
What?
Can't be good for the skin.
Oh.
This
no,
is
he
where-
just got sick of it after a while. You know,
Yeah.
day in, day
Oof.
out, it gets
And then he
claustrophobic,
ended
and
up
it doesn't
doing-
breathe. They didn't have a lot of the latex like they
This
do now and stuff.
fun-
He
Yeah.
ended up doing 8 more
Yeah, they
movies
used-
of this after.
Yeah. Fun fact: this is where Lionel Richie got the inspiration for dancing on the ceiling from. This. No, I'm just kidding.
This is a
Funny you
freaky
mentioned
thing.
that because I think they used the same. I don't know if they used this one for that video, but I think they
Probably the
they
same
did use
technique.
this set for a lot of other movies. In fact, one of them being Toxic Man Flu's favorite movie, Breakin' 2 Electric Boogaloo.
Well, I know that's
Wow.
well, there's the scene in that as well. With the,
No, they use
Oh.
this actual set though, because for those who
Yeah,
don't know, this
'cause
thing
it
is
rotates.
yeah, it's a rotating set, and it had been used a few times. The concept had been used a few times before, but they built this massive like thing, so it's a whole entire room on this swivel, and they used this physical set for a couple other movies after the fact because it was built so well, but they almost destroyed the whole goddamn thing when we get to a later part. But it was
This
really
is
fucked
upside-
up for.
so she's obviously on the floor. And
Yes,
the kid
he's
is like,
strapped in.
into
Yeah.
strapped into a chair or something upside down. So he's like getting a headache right now.
See,
But
this
yeah,
for
but
me-
see, she would get like vertigo and shit. So like
Okay.
she would like
Just
get on her
'cause-
belly and
I
she'd be
couldn't
like, I
imagine.
can't get up, Wes. I can't get up, Wes. I can't get up. And she'd freak the fuck out. And then Wes would stick his head up through the window and be like, hi, you're on the floor. You're this is the
because
floor.
just
This
you-
is the ceiling. And he'd be like,
Right.
I'd sit in here explaining this shit to the actors. And then all of a sudden I'd start getting fucking vertigo.
It'd be interesting if she vomited to see which direction the vomit went.
They said a lot of people did vomit after being in that room. It was, in fact, it was called the vomit room for, I guess, a
Oh,
nickname
I'll
for
bet-
that
I would
reason.
hate
Yeah.
that. Oh god.
I,
Oh, just 'cause your
I would
perspective-
believe that.
Because your perspective is so screwed up, I guess. Just even though she's not upside down, just the way your brain works, I guess.
Yep.
she
You
was-
think you're gonna
Yes.
fall? Yeah.
She gonna fall.
Well,
Yeah, I
that's-
can't get up. I'm gonna fall. Yeah, that's what they
That's
you
that's
think.
Yeah.
that is where vertigo comes from when
Nightmare.
your sense of balance and what your eyes see don't match. And I
Yeah.
have
Yeah, my son had
experienced that, so
My son had a really bad case about 3 months ago. It turned out, thankfully, it was just an ear infection. But he tried to stand up, and he had to keep like his eyes closed, and the doctor gave him all kinds of exercises with his neck. But and he had it for like 3 weeks. He was miserable. He was miserable because he's a young kid, and anyone who got it, but he tries to get up, and it turned out it was an ear infection. But man, it was scary. Then they're like maybe you have a tumor. He's like, no, definitely not a tumor.
Not a-
An
Not a
MRI.
tumor.
It's
Not
not
a
a
tumor.
tumor.
Not a tumor. So thank God. But yeah.
All right, 2 things. One, we got 50 in here. Thank you for supporting Toxic Tuesday. 50 people on YouTube and over 10 on Rumble. Thank you. I want to say, in my opinion, this is the best kill of the movie, even though it's the first kill, because one, it's the initial shock of seeing it all happen in front of you, and you literally cannot do anything about it, and it's all happening in your dream. So it's the whole. And once again, you get more of a visual of this versus Glenn's death that happens later on, because that's like, he goes through the bed. And
Well, it's a way of turning a
come
simple
out.
kill into very extravagant. Because not isn't she? If you do this on the ground, she's just getting hacked and slashed.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
But instead, not only is he just dragging her across the ground, he's dragging her all up around the fucking room, and blood's.
Yep.
So you got to imagine when the cops walk in and see this scene.
Mm-hmm. This is it's
OJ did it. OJ did it.
Fuck yeah, they're like 12 OJs did this. What the fuck? That's why I love later when we get to Johnny Depp's scene and he's like, what does the coroner say? I don't know. He's still in the John puking since he saw it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man. Yeah.
But I think it got cut out, but there was another line where a guy goes, what the hell are you doing? Oh, there's these body bags. He's like, you don't need those. You just get a bucket.
yeah.
Yeah.
we don't need body bags. We need
a body
mops.
bag.
That's what we need. That's what it was. The line was.
It should have been. Yeah, you just need a mop.
That's what it was. We don't need body bags. We need a mop. Yeah.
The great John Saxon.
Now, if
Oh.
we had a Nightmare on Elm Street reboot today, it would definitely be Freddy Krueger. He'd probably be a homophobe, and he'd go after men very exclusively. very exclusively.
Well, they made him a child diddler and only a child diddler in the remake, which makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah.
Because then I'm going, why does he have the claws? He doesn't kill anybody. That's stupid.
He doesn't kill. I only saw it once, and
he does after when he's in the dreams, but in the
Yeah.
actual story itself, because I know a lot of people probably haven't seen the remake, so here's a real quick breakdown.
I've forgotten it. Good, just
like it's the same basic concept, but where it deviates is they set up the idea that Freddy might have actually been innocent, and this is where the remake almost hooked me in for a minute. I'm like, wait a minute here, now you're trying something different. You're going at this with a little different angle. This adds a little bit of a different spin to Freddy. So what if he was set up by somebody else or the kids? And then you waste an hour of the movie going through this mystery to find out, nope, he was guilty.
Wow. So His Excellency Donald Trump on Rumble described the bloodbath in the room, said, this looks like the bedroom of Tampon Tim. Has anybody heard of Tampon Tim? That guy is weird.
I bet Tampon Tim's room looks like this.
Soul Assassin.
Lots of blood, just blood everywhere. Blood.
I saw it in the theater, and maybe it's the nostalgia speaking. I enjoyed it. That was my freshman year going to sophomore year. I mean, it's honestly, it's objectively a terrible
As someone
movie.
who's read many of the scripts that we didn't get, it's probably the best Freddy versus Jason movie we were gonna get at that time.
Oh, I believe that. When I see that, when I saw it at the time, I was just excited for the idea of it. And I was
a lot of
like,
the other
"This is
scripts
cool."
had this idea of trying to make Jason a quasi good guy by having and they always seem to have a character who gets killed by Freddy early on. They'll take his heart and put it in Jason to resurrect him.
Yeah.
Like that was a common trope in all of the scripts I went through. And it's like, what is this stupid idea and why? Because then you got kids running around with Jason like Scooby-Doo through the whole fucking movie.
Another thing I remember they're hoping to do as a follow-up was Freddy versus Jason versus Ash. That was one of the things they were hoping to accomplish. Obviously, that never came into fruition, but that was what they were hoping to do for the follow-up. And that I do wonder what would have happened if Ash had come into play. Can you imagine?
It would have been fun because like they already set up the idea that Jason could be a Deadite, so why not?
So I'm trying to imagine Ash falling asleep and he wakes up in his own dream. And he's like, groovy, as he's in the room.
What a nightmare.
Who the hell are you? Oh, dude, that would have been so fun. That would have been a really stabbingly good time. Straight up.
Yeah, there was a couple of the scripts that ended with them in hell, and then all of a sudden you hear, boys, 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 what's the fight about? And you pull out and it's Pinhead.
Oh, dude, yeah. That's another good one. Oh yes, I'm getting your clips, Mark. Thank you. Oh, this is delightful. I get to add these because did you do it? Did you do it? I did do it.
Touch your.
I did do it. Oh, Juggalo. He read the or looked at the Freddy versus
fruitcake or something.
That was Dynamite, I think, who did that comic. It was Dynamite.
Yeah, there was a sequel as well. Yeah,
who did the Boys comic? I think it was Dynamite, and I actually heard it was pretty good. And
step away from her son like your ass depended on it.
Ooh, I'm sure his ass depends on it. I mean, just
Jesus Christ.
That would be a good matchup. That would be very brutal. I would like to see Ash losing his mind, being all slap happy over the fact that he's got Pinhead to deal with. I think that dynamic alone would be absolutely hilarious, and it would absolutely be filled with lots of slaughter. Ooh.
But we definitely gotta, I guess, get through some of the quick casting stories.
Yeah,
Obviously, John Saxon is there because movie star. We need a name.
And
Yeah.
and he plays police in a lot of things.
Yeah, and he's just
Yeah.
perfectly cast. Ronnie
was
Blakely was fresh off an Oscar not too long before that, and a good
He was
get for
also a
him.
police lieutenant in Black Christmas, another great.
Yep,
horror
very
movie.
similar role.
Yeah.
In fact,
That's right. Yeah.
in fact, he says he plays them almost very similar in that respect. The only
Yeah.
difference is one's a father, basically. But then we got the great Lynn Shay right there. Her first appearance in a Nightmare film, where she would be many, many more from here on out. And then of course that's actually Daryl Hannah's brother right there.
Go back. Let's see. Where's Daryl Hannah?
The guy reading there. Yep, that's Daryl Hannah's brother. Yep. And so the rest of the cast was basically cast the way most kids are cast in Hollywood nowadays. You know, and at that time, they all were up and comers,
They
pretty
had
much.
to go see Harvey Weinstein first, then they were cast. Yeah.
I think basically, as far as the kids go, the most well-known one would have been what's her face there playing Tina, because she had been in Fast Times at Ridgemont High already at that point.
Oh yeah, Amanda
Weiss, yeah.
Amanda Weiss, that's it, yeah.
Yeah, so she was kind of the more, and she did get set up in the, you know, in the psycho role, because at first we think that's the character we're going to follow, only to end up following Heather Langenkamp's character.
Nancy. Do we know why Nancy wasn't immediately in the second movie, and not until she was brought back in several movies?
Oh,
later?
yeah,
'Cause
I'll
I
get into
remember-
that later.
Oh, okay, because I have some.
That's a
there.
whole can of worms to get into. Okay, so like, but then the rest of the cast, though, of course, Johnny Depp
go
was
ahead.
a fun one, because
Yeah,
he didn't show up to try out for the movie. He was actually there because he needed a ride to band practice, and his ride to band practice was Jackie Earle Haley, who would have later go on to play Freddy, but at this time he was trying out for the part of Rod. He didn't get it. But I'm surprised they didn't even think about it, or maybe he just didn't look old enough for their liking, because you guys remember at this
young in
point,
this movie. Was he 12?
Jackie Earle Haley at that time, you got to remember.
I mean, Johnny Depp.
Oh no, I hadn't got that far yet. Jackie Earle Haley is who I was talking about.
Okay,
Because he's from the Bad News Bears and all that shit, and he still looked pretty young at that age. So I'm thinking they just like, he doesn't look old enough. But so they ended up going with Garcia instead for the role of Rod. But Johnny Depp, they had a couple of guys they were really close on. I think even Nick Cage tried out for it. I think he might have went there that day too, because Johnny Depp was actually living on Nick Cage's couch at that point.
I want to part in this movie.
There's a lot of weird connections in this movie, but anyway.
I heard Nick Cage told Johnny Depp to go to a tryout.
Yeah, he's like, I'm sick of you sleeping on my fucking couch. You need to get a job. Anyway, he's like, go with him. Well, he needed a ride, and I think he asked Nick for a ride, and Nick's like, I'm not going anywhere. And then he's like, I'm going to this audition. Jackie said, I'll give you a ride or something like that. That's basically how it worked out. But he was just hanging out there. He wasn't gonna audition or anything like that. He was just going to band practice. And they saw him there and like, hey, are you here to audition? He's like, no, I'm just here. And he's like, well, you sure you don't want to try out? You're right age for this and all this kind of shit and blah, 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 blah. So they got him a headshot and they did all the business with him and they got him in there and they did an audition with him and stuff. And he left. And
you done any acting before at all? Or
none,
anything?
none,
Zero.
None.
Like not even like a TV part or like
none. They like, as far as I know, the headshot they had was the one they took.
Wow.
Yeah. So
because the other how big he became. I mean, other than after the Amber Heard crap, but
yeah, funnily enough, pun intended, right?
Yes.
Charlie Sheen almost got his role because Charlie Sheen was really interested in it, but he wanted basically the entire budget. He wanted $1 million, and Bob Shea said, "Fuck that." Because he wasn't even Chuck Sheen that big at this point.
I was just about to say, President Trump was asking, I heard Charlie Sheen was first offered the role of Glenn. Is that true? And apparently he turned it down because he thought the script was too weird. Clearly he didn't know Tim Walsh.
So did he turn his nose up at it and he blew it? Charlie Sheen?
It wasn't enough to put anything up his nose. That's the problem.
I read another quote today that he said he never got the part, but I believe what Tom is saying because that's more believable. He said, I just didn't get the movie. I'm paraphrasing, but I read something today like,
no, he wanted
to get the movie, and I turned it down. And he said it wasn't about the money, but
It could have
I
been
don't
his
believe
agent
that.
pushing for it, but at that point, like
Yeah.
I don't even think Charlie had done a whole lot yet. But being Martin Sheen's kid, that was where I think they
Name
were kind of
recognition,
yeah. But either way, so that kind of all they got like down to like 2 or 3 guys that they wanted to have for Glenn, because Glenn's supposed to be like this jock, run of the mill, blue collar, all American boy, right? Like he's supposed to be, you know, the basic run of the mill suburban kid.
Meathead.
Not quite, but like,
Oh,
you know,
but-
just
A
Jock, yeah.
normal jock.
All
just
American,
a jock,
all American.
all American boy. Yeah, a good old boy.
Mm.
Not quite, you know, not quite stupid or anything like that, but like not like Rod, who Rod's the badass.
He's the degenerate. Yeah,
he's the kid from the wrong side of the tracks. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Johnny actually was more like Rod, which is funny.
Yeah.
Because like
I was gonna
if
say,
anything, he's like, I should have been playing Rod, but either way. Like, so they had the 3 guys lined up in their pictures, and they asked all the daughters of the production people, and Robert Shea's daughter and Wes Craven's daughter and all that shit. They're like, so which one of these guys do you think would be best for Glenn? And they all instantly went to Johnny Depp.
He's beautiful.
They said, Johnny Depp, Johnny Depp, Johnny Depp. And they're like, why? Well, it depends on who you ask. One person said they said he was beautiful, but the other person said, oh, all the girls went, oh, because he's so dreamy.
I'll tell you.
That sounds like something little girls would say, or younger girls would say.
I've known Charlie for a long time. Now I can honestly say you will not see better suction from a vacuum cleaner. I have seen this guy bang 7-gram rocks and finish them winning.
Did he really say that? Because I could see him saying that.
Yeah, Trump said that on Rumble.
Yeah, it's that or save it for Rumble. But yeah, Freddy was even tougher to cast because initially they had, believe it or not, David Warner set to play the part.
Klingon.
Yeah,
he's been in a few horror movies in his time too, wasn't he?
And
The
I don't
Omen?
know
The Omen.
The ultimate personification of evil from
Who,
Time
David
Bandits?
Warner.
Yeah. And I don't honestly know what got in the way of him being in the movie. I think if my memory serves, he didn't want to deal with the makeup.
Smart man.
But they actually do have, like, they did actually get a version of his makeup done, a mock-up of it or whatever. There you go.
Yeah,
It's true. David Warner did play the devil in Time Bandits, didn't he?
Yeah, I think so.
You
Yeah.
know,
Is that David Warner?
Yeah, more or
I
less.
think so.
Yeah, pretty much.
he
Digital
looked like
watches.
if Freddy like before he got mangled up, like when you look at his normal skin, he looks like he just naturally kind of looks like a Freddy.
Yeah, I think David Warner just basically said, I don't think I could fathom going through the makeup process all day long. Yeah, something like that.
Mm.
The mic.
I don't know if he could have done it either, because that's what Wes said. Everybody who came in, because he wanted to go older with the character. He's like, all these older actors or people I'd bring in, they just didn't seem to have it in them. The stunt guys couldn't pull it off. But then one day, believe it or not, Mark Hamill clued in Robert Englund to the casting, because he told him you'd be
Mark
perfect
Hamill?
for this.
Wow.
Yeah, he goes, you'd be perfect for this. So he goes, go check it out. And he went down there, and on the way, and Robert was actually pretty well established. He had done quite a few films at this point, even a Tobe Hooper film. So he was kind of especially known within like the underground scene.
Okay.
And but he went in and he was all decked out in leather and shit, because he said he went to the bar the night before, so he's kind of half hungover. He slicked his hair back, and he went and took ash from the ashtray and he put it under his eyes, and he just kept staring at everybody at the audition, didn't say shit.
Wow.
And he said he must have scared Wes enough, because Wes really kind of took to him, and then he's like, do you think you could handle this? And Wes was talking to him, and he just seemed to have like a grasping or an idea of what he needed to do this, right? And it just seemed to click, and it was just like perfect, because Robert knew what it was going to take to do this character, and he understood what kind of loathsome, depraved, degenerate, lowlife Freddy really is. And that's kind of where the inspiration for Freddy was like, Wes just wanted to come up with what he thought would be the most vile creature that could ever walk on Earth.
Yeah.
And he's like, what could be worse than somebody who not only harms a child, but, you know, takes away their innocence before they do it. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And you could kind of fathom, you know, that kind of thing, that somebody was like that, you know, like, even if the people you would think that the parents would be justified in what they do to him.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, it's almost like the devil created such a perfect creature that he just couldn't bear to let it not continue on. So now he's allowing him to continue doing this in dreams. And that's the only way I could justify this whole thing. Right. Because you think about it. I mean, that's partially his explanation for it and partially my kind of culmination of how I figured out what Freddy is. Because, you know, they always went with this idea of the dream demons, right? Well, okay, so where do the dream demons come from? Well, obviously. So I would just picture, like, you know, Hitler, well, that was just the start. Freddy was the real deal. Like, the bastard son of 1,000 maniacs. You know, like, who could you, and then he added that to the mix in part 3, right? Not only that, he was a nun who was assaulted. That's just come up with a creature that just the worst thing ever. But then you put somebody like Robert Englund in it with the charisma that he has, that you know you're not supposed to like him. And he's got that whole like Hannibal Lecter thing going for him, or whatever you want to call it, that machismo or whatever it is that
machismo. I like
bleeds through.
Yeah.
Spark, yeah. Oh, I had this up on because this line is hysterical. Like, oh God, I look 20 years old.
Which is funny because she was like 19 at the time she shot this, but yeah.
It looked 20. But the script is great in this, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of great zingers in this and great, it's well-written dialogue too. It's not a hokey, silly.
Once again,
and it's the primal fear, like Tom was talking about. You know, this could be demons. If you're Catholic or religious, this could scare the crap out of you. Even if you're not religious, just going to bed at night and everyone's had nightmares. I mean, so that's why this movie just, you know, sends chills down your spine. And imagine seeing this in a movie theater too. So I saw this in a movie theater, you know, in high school, and it's just scares the crap out of you. And it's so much more fun. You know, people are throwing their popcorn and just screaming, and the girls are going nuts.
The first one's genuinely scary. I mean, you don't get. I mean, Freddy does some freaky shit, and he has a few lines, but I wouldn't call them one-liners per se. Those come later down the line. But
he gets full one-liner later.
Welcome to prime time, bitch.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of when it kicks in full gear there.
Yeah. But it's still.
But at that
scary.
point, what are you gonna do? I mean, you know. But no, in this movie, that's the thing with this one is Freddy is just so dark and twisted. And what's funny is you said you saw this in theater. I wonder if you saw it before or after they had to lighten up the prints, because this is a lot like Batman, where people were complaining
it was too dark.
Really,
that the movie was too dark. Yeah,
the theater, dude.
Yeah.
What?
So they had to reissue the prints in brighter prints. Yeah.
Well, don't forget too, the projectors back then sucked.
Well, that's what Sarah Risher found out when she went around. She's like, she couldn't understand why people were complaining, because she's like, well, we watched it. It looked fine, you know. And then she found out, like you were just about to say there. Sorry, Mark, but that all these theaters would turn down their bulbs by a certain percentage to save on fucking energy.
Turn down your bulb.
So they had to compensate for that, and that's the same exact fucking thing that happened to Batman.
You don't want to turn down your bulge either.
You don't want to turn down your bulge at all.
Yeah,
and Wes Craven is convinced that James Cameron stole that for Terminator 2. That shot right there.
Probably.
So, really quickly, I'm gonna answer for Brian. We covered a little bit about this earlier, but if the role actually did happen, Charlie Sheen would have lived through the kill because you've been on so much coke that he would survive.
No, instead of blood, it just would have been a bunch of coke. It
would just been a bunch of coke, and he would pop out of bed with
a little bit of tiger blood.
All tiger blood that came out of the bed, and then his wife was like, "Oh, you live?" He's like, "Well, of course I lived. I'm by winning." So and that's what would happen if he were in the movie. Like,
no, I wasn't saying anything.
Oh, I thought you were. Somebody was.
No, that's okay, man. I wasn't saying anything.
Well,
Not unless I was talking to myself in my sleep.
Well,
Oh,
I
maybe.
would like.
I was
Having
having a
these-
nightmare.
This is real. You're
I'm
awake.
All
having
those
it's
secrets that you keep.
Secrets that you keep. Great song.
Right there is where she cut the fuck out of her foot.
Oh yeah.
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
in
How?
stepping on
life or
broken
for the
glass?
movie?
She stepped
Oh.
on in real life. She stepped on broken
Really?
glass. Yeah.
Oh, what?
And it was so bad that she's like, I think I need stitches. And like, Shay's like, are you sure you need stitches? I think we could just get a couple band because he didn't want to have to pay for the fucking hospital.
Just spread some of that blood on the wall. We'll use it in the movie.
Well, because this movie was like, and it's funny because we're on the scene that Bob Shay directed.
Wasn't this
now because
pancake mix?
yeah, like a mixture between pancake mix and something else to kind of give it more of a like a rubbery kind of.
And that
It
works
had a few
better
things
than
in it, but
API, right?
Yeah, it does. It's like Bisquick, and I can't remember what liquid they use. They didn't use water. They used something else that's more viscous or whatever. But Bob Shay actually directed this scene because he insisted on it because this is a nightmare he kept having. Now, Bob Shay was the producer. And what's funny about this is this movie kept getting to the point where it was going to get shut down because they kept running out of money. Oh, Lord. That I was waiting for an AIDS joke.
You see,
Didn't take that long.
New Line should have followed the Canon Films method of filmmaking. You don't need money. We need
Well,
money.
eventually Bob did, which is funny, and he made it work for him. But at this time, what happened is Smart Egg, the company that had initially put in most of the money, pulled out at the last minute.
You should
like a
never do
prom
that.
date.
You
Said pull
should
out.
never do that.
Yeah, like a prom date. And fucking so they were panicking, and so they were already in the midst of beginning production, and so they sent Sarah Risher down there, who was like 8 months pregnant, same person who got sent around to the theaters, to beg the crew and cast to work without getting paid until they could get it worked out, because they knew they'd have the money, they just didn't know when. And so one of the production guys for a while maxed out his credit cards to help the other guys pay their bills and shit until they did get paid.
Wow.
But they never lost a single member of the crew.
Nice.
And what happened then was Media Home Entertainment jumped in at the last minute to pay. They bought the video rights. And that put in the rest of the money they needed, except for a couple $100,000. So then Bob went and beat the hell out of Smart Egg and said, hey, these guys saved your ass. Least you can do is throw in the other 100,000. Because he said the funny thing is about this is right after the Smart Egg deal fell through at first, he was set to go give a speech at some college about raising money for independent films when his movie had just lost all its funding.
Oh no.
And he was panicking. He's like, what the fuck am I going to say to you? So he lied through the whole thing, he said. It was just crazy.
Like what ironic. Yeah.
And this movie was even until the moment it opened, it was still like, was this movie ever going to come out? Because they went through the whole trouble of after it finally got finished, because they were on they had 5 units running at one time. Trying to get this movie done. And you had Sean S. Cunningham, the director of Friday the 13th, come in and shoot second unit for a while, and the actors refused to work for him. So that was another thing, because I guess he was a prick.
Just didn't like him or a jerk, yeah.
Yeah, I guess he was just a jerk and he didn't like him. But so that was another big fiasco that happened. But they finally got the movie finished. And as soon as they got the movie finished, they went through all the selling stuff like we talked about before. They couldn't get it sold. But then when they were going to release it, to distribute it, New Line Cinema didn't have the money to get the movie out. So Eastman was holding the negative hostage. So they had a release date set for the movie, and they couldn't get the movie out there. Like, they couldn't get the prints. And so they had to browbeat them into giving them the prints. So they sent Sarah Risher down there, 8 months pregnant, begging them to release the prints, and they'd pay for them in payments and installments, basically. So yeah, it just was like this movie almost never even got to see the light of day. And the fact that it even did and then became the big hit that it did was even more insane.
And a franchise, massive ongoing franchise at that, and one that seems to have a lot of sequels that a lot of the fans actually like too, because it wasn't like one of those ones where people only talk about the first movie. I've talked to various fans, and it seems like a lot of the sequels have their fans. Some obviously more than others, but it's definitely interesting to see this franchise definitely has a lot of sequels where there's fans of a lot of them.
And I think it's made good money. All of them have made money.
Oh, they all have. And it was one of the
yeah.
few franchises to go up and up and up for the most
Yeah.
part until you get to about part 5 and 6,
Yeah.
where
That's
actually part
incredible.
7.
That's
But,
incredible. Seriously.
And you guys like are probably wondering who Sarah Risher is. Well, Sarah Risher was one of the producers on the project, and she was one of the bigger people up at New Line Cinema. But they learned pretty quickly that if you send a very pregnant woman crying to ask for shit,
Crying. That's right, crying. You're gonna
no,
make
actually, I
money.
have to amend that last story because she called Eastman from the hospital 4 hours after having the baby.
Mm,
That's right. I forgot
that's
because Bob
manipulative.
called her and she's like, Bob, I just had the baby. But yeah, but can't you make a phone call?
I'm breastfeeding right now.
Yeah,
you
so
don't
I'm
pick-
sure she
if you
started
d-
the phone call with, I'm just got out of birth. Like,
If you don't
So-
give us this money, I'm going to send my kid to the orphanage.
I
I'm
didn't
gonna have to sell my kid.
I learned a few days ago that Freddy Krueger has nightmares about Chuck Norris, which is pretty fascinating.
That's the only one he, yeah, you don't want to face Chuck.
Yeah, Freddy Krueger's like, Chuck.
Well, John Saxon was in Enter the Dragon, wasn't Chuck Norris in
That's
that?
true.
So there's a connection.
Oh, yeah,
There's a
connected
connection.
universe.
Yeah, that was a great movie in spite of him.
It's
So
connected.
yeah. Anyway, I didn't mean to dominate this so
No,
much.
no,
And we haven't
no,
even got.
it's just-
We haven't
I'm
even
loving
scratched
it.
the fucking surface of this
I'm-
shit, dude. Like,
I'm loving.
I haven't
this.
even been able to
Great.
poke fun at this movie because Ronnie Blakely is like blissfully drunk in this whole movie,
Really.
and she's
Oh,
amazing. I don't know if she really
Well,
is or not, but she plays it
The
so
kid poked
hilarious.
out.
Well, I thought it was just for the
Yep.
movie, not actually. That's I
What?
thought you were. I
She
thought
might
you
have
were being
been.
literal.
Why didn't one single police officer wonder how the kid hanged himself in his cell when the sheet disappears out?
From
Above
the
him.
other side, yeah.
They were
that
the
should've-
same car. They were the
that
same
should've-
cops that were watching Jeffrey Epstein.
That's what I was going to say. This isn't
Yeah.
that
I was
the
getting-
same
yeah.
MO?
That must have been. They must have been the parents of the
What
guys
sheet?
who were watching Jeffrey. Yeah.
This is how much I know about this movie. Wes intentionally had her in a blue dress because he did not think that she had faced or went through so much darkness in her life that she would even own a black dress, and she's too innocent to own a black dress.
Mhm.
Like, that's how much I know about this fucking movie. And there's one of the shots with palm trees.
Oh, there you go. Yeah,
Palm trees.
God, she looks like I you know, of course I saw this in high school. I don't remember seeing that young, but watching this movie now again for the first time in years, like wow, like these kids are really, really young. And
You know
but
what's
they
funny
do
about
they do
this?
a great job though.
Is like, if you also notice, and this is another thing that's goofy,
Mhm.
Glenn really doesn't dream about Freddy. He doesn't really acknowledge
No,
that
he
he even knows
doesn't.
who the fuck Freddy is. And here's the funny thing. He's the only one that's not from a divorced family.
Yeah, he's got the normal house.
All the other kids
with the mom
clearly
and
are from
dad.
divorced, fucked up families.
You notice that too. I thought
Yes.
about that. I'm like, how is it that happened? I'm like,
that
how
plays
is-
into it all, right? Like, yeah.
typical.
They're kids that you'll less likely listen to. Glenn, on the other hand, he's got his shit together more to where his parents probably would have noticed something wrong with Glenn.
Well, that's
You know
why
what I'm
also
saying?
Nancy was placing trust in. She was like, "You're the jock. You're the one who should be able to help me with all this." Like, granted, I know he was the one that was alive, but she still she was relying on him to be her rock.
I don't think
because-
he ever dreamed about Freddy until the night he died.
No,
Because even in the
No.
early scene when he gives him that look, you can kind of interpret it as, oh, maybe he did have a dream about Freddy, but you could also interpret it as, these guys are fucking nuts. Like, and he never acts like it's a big deal. See, that's the other thing too, is that he always just kind of is like, okay, I'm just going through the emotions with my girlfriend because maybe I'll get laid.
Yeah. Oh, that was his goal. And he would say anything. He'd be like, "Oh, it's okay. You're crazy. I still love you."
And then we got
it's
Roger
like-
Rabbit here. It is. It's the guy who does the voice of Roger Rabbit. That's Charles
Oh, what?
Fleischer. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I did not recognize that. That was Charles Fleischer.
Yeah, they said he was goofing
Wow.
around in between the set. He'd do all like, because he was a comedian at that time and a
Yeah.
character actor. Yep.
Man, 1984, what a damn year for flicks, man. Like this movie had stiff competition, and yet here it was being more of the cream that was rising at the top. Like that. 84, man, bro. Absolutely.
Well, this is an important
locked
scene
and
because
loaded.
this is
Go ahead.
also where Nancy figures out that she can pull shit out of her dreams, which becomes
Yes. Oh,
a big
because she
point.
gets the hat. She gets the hat. Yes. And that's when she starts a piece how she can get Freddy out of her dream so she can come face to face with him. Inevitably, yeah, it's the first step towards some major, massive stuff for her. But, dude, 1984. I'm looking at the list here where this movie.
Oh, this is
right?
what I've argued that 84 is the best year for movies ever. A lot of people say 82, but I say pound for
Time to
pound,
be a high
84 had
schooler.
movies. Yeah.
So this movie opened up opening weekend to $1 million. If you want to get technical with it, 1.2.
It only opened in like a few theaters, though. Keep that in mind.
It only shows 165 theaters, and it went on to get a wider release and ultimately do 25 million. Dude, that is incredible.
And I don't even think that was the opening theaters. I think the opening theaters was much less than that because they did not have enough money to print out that many prints.
And
that would have been when it went into wide release.
The Terminator, Bachelor Party, Revenge of the Nerds. A lot of these are movies that we already covered.
Police Academy.
Police Academy, The Karate Kid,
Beverly Hills Cop,
Ghostbusters, Temple of Doom. My God.
Gremlins,
man.
did we mention that?
Yeah. I mentioned Gremlins. Dude, like, this is so crazy. Like, imagine all the missing it, Chuck Norris, missing it, Ash. We did do that one too. We still gotta do the sequel prequel, Missing in Action 2, which is not to the beginning.
The beginning, yeah.
Yeah, right. And we're gonna do Missing in Action 3 as well. We're not gonna not do number 3. We're gonna do them both together. Do them both together.
I'm holding the damn thing in my hand right here.
You have the biggest dick I've ever seen on a man.
We're slowly getting our clips back.
Fred Krueger, Mom. Fred Krueger.
Now, I noticed that's something else too. Like, was it like a thing where maybe this is a little thing? At first, they were going by Fred a lot before they went Freddy. Now, was that something that the audiences made into a thing with Freddy, or is that something that was like a name change that went on?
Freddy says his name in this movie because you have the scene where Tina goes, Nancy, and keeps dragging her out, and then she pulls off the mask and goes, "Save me from Freddy." So he refers to himself as Freddy.
Okay.
But Fred Krueger would have just been the name that everybody would have called him by. But I think it was always kind of insinuated, "Oh, my friends call me Freddy."
Okay. Brian, we all know the answer. It's because because he wasn't Charlie Sheen. If he was Charlie Sheen,
no, you know why? I have a theory of why he killed Glenn. I don't think he ever really had any designs to go after Glenn so much as he was doing it to get at Nancy.
Well,
that
yeah,
was it.
That's why he used the phone. That's why he used the phone. I'm your boyfriend now, Nancy.
Yep.
Because then you find that's the great reveal later. And you find out that her mom was. Sounds like she was one of the instigators of taking him out or burning him alive.
So. Well, have you guys ever seen the deleted version of that scene?
No, I know there's a lot of stuff that was edited, deleted, adjusted.
Let me see if I can find the actual clip.
Up to and including the ending, because apparently the end. Obviously, we'll get there when we get there at the end. Which, by the way, Mark, you could ratchet up the show to get to the slides, because we're gonna transition over. By the way, guys, this is your 5-minute warning. We are gonna transition over to Rumble. It's okay. Rumble exclusively for the rest of the show. So I'm gonna post this link in the chat for which we have 20 of you in here. Thank you, by the way. And we have over 50 of you on YouTube, almost 60 of you on YouTube.
Wow.
Holy macaroni. Thank you so much, guys. We do appreciate this. So I'm too sensitive for this film. So yeah, that is the link where you can transition with us. So the more of you that transition with us, the better we all off are. So let's do this together.
Do it together.
Is that what this movie doesn't really got
I love this part here. Yeah. She
trap.
goes all
There's
Rambo.
boobs. There's
It's
the
a little
boobs.
long, so we'll save it for when we flip over
That's
to
what she said.
Rumble.
It's a little long, but we'll save it for when we flip over to Rumble. Oh,
That's right.
That's all like an invitation, Tom.
Yeah.
Let's get ready to rumble.
So,
I was gonna say, I think we're in the third act here, so I think it's about time.
Yeah, no, I didn't clip as much, but going back to the dream sequence or the sleep study, it's like she wakes up, she's got a hat in her bed, and she's cut up, and it's like they don't like do anything or say anything's wrong or call some supernatural person in to check this out. It's just like they release her. Of course, I love that scene though too, where they're using the science, right, and they're checking it out, and she's at the sleep study, so the parents kind of I guess they don't believe her at this point, but they think something's wrong with her. But my God, I mean, what a scene! And you think that yeah, she just pulled a hat out of her under her covers, maybe something else is going on here. Let's call a priest or something. But yeah, it's
I need a
look at the
young
face
priest
there.
and an old priest.
Yeah. Right? Maybe
So,
Wayne's World is there.
we have a great comment here from JT Kirk. Said, if there are problems on the green, will you detransition back here to you? Oh, that is hilarious, JT. Thank you for that wondrous comment. We already got 30 of you already transitioning over with us. Yeah, the more of you that transition, the better. 31. There you go.
Transition with us, people.
We're just saying, like, if you will not regret transitioning with us.
And actually, this is the scene right here, so it's perfect timing. Actually,
yeah. Okay, we're gonna bump it up to
Everyone will pause
we're gonna
it,
bump
yep.
it up a minute. 2-minute warning. 2-minute warning. We're trying to say, come down to the cellar.
Yep, this is
I'll
it.
show you where she shows the magical Andy Randy hand that Mad
Why
Martin
did she-
wishes that she never showed.
And what is this, the furnace doesn't work or something? Or what is this? They just have like an empty old furnace there that never doesn't light. It's like that's the
They probably
freaking
replaced
scary-
it.
That's like the scariest furnace. It's like from don't be afraid of the dark, right? With the little creatures coming out. It's like what a creepy basement. My God.
Have we
Yeah.
transitioned over yet?
Actually, you know what? We're gonna make this our last clip we play. Do you think we'll be?
Well, I was going to
safe
say save
on
this till we transition because it's like
Oh,
2
you know
minutes.
Screw it. We're transitioning right
Plus,
now.
that way you can take off the screen thing. Yeah.
All right, guys, we are ending it
See you,
on
Rumble.
YouTube right now. I'm going to post this one more time for you guys in our chat. So I'm putting it in the private one more. Sorry, not in the private. I'm putting it out in the open, actually,
What do you put in people's privates, Nick?
right here. So come transition with us here. We're transitioning now to the green button. So it's been good. It's been diabolical. And we'll see you where we go green. All right.